So most home buyers think that the first step in the process of buying a home is going out to look at houses. Now, that is exactly why so many home buying journeys become stressful, expensive, and take longer than they should. The first step isn't house hunting, it's building a buying plan. And the first step for that is picking a move in target date. Target date is the concept that drives everything. And to get the outcome that you want, you need to understand it and use it. So today, I'm going to show you how and why to pick a target date, how to create a timeline to map out your journey before you ever book an open house or take another step. And the goal is to help you buy your next home at the best possible price, all while taking complete control of your journey, regardless of the realtor that you choose. So hi there, my name is Michael Hausum. I'm an active real estate broker here in Orange County. I first got into the real estate business on the mortgage side over 35 years ago. I was still getting haircuts every 3 weeks. And then a decade after that, I added the real estate license. And I'm an active broker. So what I'm talking to you about here today, this isn't theory, this isn't concept, this is active business, active marketplace information. So one of the very biggest mistakes I see all the time with home buyers is a complete fumbling and mishandling of the entire concept of timing. And this mistake can be very expensive and it can cost a lot of frustration. So a constant phrase that I hear from home buyers is, we're just kind of waiting for the right house to come on the market or some version of that. In fact, you might even be thinking something like this yourself as you're watching this. And on one hand, I totally understand it. Unless there's some kind of outside influence, like a job change or a landlord kicking you out, forcing the move, typically for 99.9% of folks, it's about finding the right house itself. It's a product-driven motivation. You probably don't have to do anything or make a move at all. You just want to. And that's only really going to happen if the right house comes along. So it kind of seems like the right thing to do is just spend a little bit of time and energy here and there just to kind of see if the right house is actually out there and really not doing anything else until that happens. In other words, why spend any time or effort on anything unless the right house is actually available? Well, that absolutely makes sense. But here's the important point that I want to make. This is actually the wrong way to think about it. And there's one significant reason. To actually get the right house at the ideal time at the very lowest and best possible price, finding the house itself, it's the very last step. It's not the first step. If you put the house finding part at the beginning instead of at the end, the risks you face are that it actually might not end up being the right house, the timing might not actually fit you in your life, and most importantly, if you do it that way, you have almost certainly already blown any possibility of getting that house at the lowest possible price. So if not overpaying and making sure that the house is the one that checks all of the right boxes for you, or that it perfectly fits into the schedule of your life, I need you to pay attention. So we're going to talk about a timeline plan that I use with my Orange County clients, and I also teach to my House Advantage clients nationwide. And I think it's really going to help you. So there are 3 parts to doing this. Number 1, the first step is the preparation stage. I'm going to write this here. Preparation stage. Number 2 is the action stage. And then number 3 is the conclusion. So there's 3 parts to this having to do with your overall timing. So I'm going to walk you through all 3 of these and what you should be doing to make them happen at an optimal level. So at the beginning, I mentioned this phrase target date. Okay, so let's talk about that. The target date is the goal or the ideal date that you would like to move into your new home. And it is such a key concept. So your target date that is the goal move-in date. I use this phrase target date a lot. So, you might even be thinking, but wait, we already told you that we would literally move right now if we found the right house. Well, in my experience, if I scratch on that, we're ready to move right now, if I scratch on that statement a little bit, for 99% of people, they're actually not near as ready as they think they are. Soon, maybe, but literally right now, probably not. Probably not. So there's a handful of questions that need to be asked and that you need to think about. Is your loan already approved? Do you have sufficient marketplace knowledge to know exactly where any particular house in your niche fits in terms of price and value? Do you have the correct pro-level strategies ready and in place to get the seller to take less for that house? Do you know how to beat out potential competitors without just having to throw more money at a seller? Do you have the right agent in place to help you implement those strategies? Do you have a system to evaluate if this house is actually the right one and meets your most important key benefits? The answer to all of these questions, it has to be a hard yes. If not, then you're actually not ready. So this tool of establishing your target date, this is what can help you. So as with all of these things, how do you establish a target date? So the first thing is you put into the calculation and you're thinking the time that it takes to answer all of those questions. And every single one of them needs to be answered. And then beyond that, you need to carefully consider everything that is going on in your life. And that could be your work, your kids, money, vacation plans, holidays, everything and anything that is potentially on your life calendar over the next few days, weeks, months, or even years. And then, given all the necessary preparations and everything else in your life, assuming that you do find the right house, what would be the dream or the ideal date to get the keys and to have your movers show up? So the way I ask folks to think about this is, imagine you had your hands on all the levers for the cosmic calendar and you could lay out everything to happen the way you wanted it to. If you had to pick a date on that cosmic calendar and you had the ability to move everything around, what is the date that you would want to move in? And that then is the actual date that you need to pick. That is your target date. And it's not a season, it's not a month or a time frame, an actual particular date on the calendar. Now, sometimes this is kind of difficult to do, right? To wrap your head around that and to think through what all the implications are of the various different moving parts. Another way to do it is you can kind of come at it from a different angle. And here's the way to think about that. At what point in the future would you start to get frustrated or upset that you actually haven't moved into that next home? Is that 3 months from now? Is it 6 months from now? Is it 18 months from now? Whatever that frustration date is, that could also be used as your target date. And even though we're picking an actual goal date, this is really important to understand. Anything that we're doing in terms of setting that date, it's all just written in pencil. The goal of this target date is to use it as a tool. And of course, it should be totally subject to your needs and your wants, and therefore should be flexible, because life and all kinds of things happens. I had, oh gosh, this was years ago. I had a couple. I met them and they very quickly established a target date with me. And it was about 120 or so days in the future, about 4 months. But as we got closer to that date, life happened. Michelle had a job change. They had to take care of his mom, who got really, really sick. There were some other things that happened. And over the course of time, their target date ended up moving out almost 3 years because life happened. On the other hand, let me tell you another quick story that will also help illustrate this point. I met this couple. They'd been out looking at open houses, not in any kind of specific rush, but they kind of figured it would make a lot of sense just to get a feel for the marketplace. This is exceptionally common, of course. So they're out looking at houses. And then as I'm talking to them, they describe themselves as not in a hurry, certainly not interested in just buying something for the sake of buying something. But they also describe themselves as completely ready to go immediately, should the right house just pop up on the marketplace. So as we kind of worked through their situation, the one thing that became instantly obvious to me and to them is they were absolutely not ready should the right house pop up. Had they found it, in this particular case, there was zero chance that they were in a position to do anything about it at all. There were money issues, there were credit issues, they had a vacation planned, some business trips, and other things beyond that. Plus, they had no idea about any strategies or tactics, how to get a great price from a seller, nor do they have any sense about the marketplace activity and levels in their price range. So then what we did is that we mapped out what was needed to get them ready, and we identified a target date for them. The date wasn't now. The date literally was about 6 months into the future for them. But not only did we have a clear path, that put to rest any of their fears and concerns about the process, the nervousness that they had. The fog that they were in, frankly, it was a fog that they weren't even fully aware of. But once they realized it and recognized it, and we worked through this and created a target date and mapped out their plan, that fog lifted. And then they had the confidence to know exactly what was needed to reach their goal. It completely shifted the entire project for them. And then, literally almost exactly 6 months later to the date, they got their keys, the right house, the right time, and at a great price. And that's exactly the way it is supposed to work. So let's see an example. Let's work through how this can actually work in real time. For the sake of the discussion, let's pick a target date. Thought experiment. Given everything going on in my life, I would like to be in a new home to host this year's family Thanksgiving. So I'm going to pick Friday, November 6th, which will then give me 2 weekends to get ready for the family holiday. So let's put this on the timeline, and I'm going to show you what it looks like and everything else that follows. We got over here on this side, we have our target date of November 6th. And then the timeline itself goes backwards. And here we are today on June 26th. That's today. And then this timeline actually gets divided up into 3 different sections that look like that. So we have section 3, which is the conclusion. We have section 2, which is the action stage. And we have number 1, that's the preparation stage. 1, 2, and 3. Now, period number 3 to the target date, this section here, this is a 30-day period. The conclusion is 30 days, which means the beginning of section 3 starts on October 6th. So this is the transaction itself. This is where you're evaluating the house. You're in escrow, you have a signed contract, and at the very end of it here, our target date, that of course is our closing date. And then from this period here, number 2, back to September 6th, this is another 30-day period as well. The action stage is also 30 days. So what the action is, this is when we're going to be making offers. And at the end of this action stage, we want to have a contract. That's the goal during section 2, the action stage. So in order to move into our dream house on November 6th, that means we have to have a house under contract by October 6th, which means we need to be in a position to start writing offers on September 6th. That's the way the dates all lay out. And then we have all of this time for stage 1, the preparation stage, back to where we are right now. In this particular case, that's 2.5 months. So we have 2.5 months to get our money in order, to get our strategies aligned and ready to go, to get our market knowledge and data up to speed. That is all the things that happen in the preparation stage. We've got money, we've got market knowledge, we've got strategies. 2.5 months to get all of these things in order so that we're then ready to start to buy houses and look at houses seriously by the 6th of September. Now, also, if you're not exactly sure where it is that you want to move, some people know exactly where they want to go. I want to go the east side of Costa Mesa, or I want to go, if you're around the country, you want to be at Excelsior, 40 minutes west of downtown Minneapolis. That's the other thing that you can do here in this preparation stage, is narrow down your locations and the area that you want to live in. So we've got 2.5 months to do that. This is what the correct timeline and the activities look like for somebody who's wanting to buy a home at a pro level to avoid costly mistakes and to put themselves in an ideal position to find and buy the right house in their own timing. And this allows you to do this at the lowest possible price. So here's what ends up happening. When you run a timeline like this, starting all the way back here at your target date, and then working backwards up to today's date, you've got your 2.5 months, and then you've got a 30-day period, and then an additional 30-day period. So the outcomes that you're going to get if you do this properly is, number 1, you are going to take control of your own journey. You're not going to be reacting. You're not going to be subject to things out of your control. You will have a plan that you're implementing. Secondly, it's going to allow you, of course, to find the right house. And then thirdly, and this is maybe the most important part of it, this is going to happen at the lowest possible price. And all of these outcomes here start at the very beginning by establishing your target date. This is your framework, and this is exactly how you do it. This is how you map out the timeline to buy a home like a pro. So now, the next step for you to take after understanding this, I would suggest you take my real estate readiness assessment. I put a link here in the chat. There'll be a link in the description below. And if you're watching this as a replay, there'll be a link here at the end of the video. And what the readiness assessment will do for you is it's free and it's very short. It takes about 4 minutes to do. But at the end of that, it's going to give you a scorecard result on the 4 main areas of your real estate journey. It'll tell you exactly where you're strong, and it'll tell you exactly where you're exposed. Again, it's free. It takes like 3 or 4 minutes to do. I would definitely recommend that you do that. And you can then understand how ready you are to go into today's real estate marketplace and where you need some help or where you're doing just fine. The next video that's going to pop up here, that goes deeper into the necessary strategies and tactics for you to buy a house like a pro.